What's up, everybody? Anton Kraly here from Dropship Lifestyle. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing the top 10 niches for high-ticket dropshipping in 2025, all researched by myself. And before we get into this and I take you through the list and what actually makes them good, I just want to let you know that I've been making these lists since 2015. So this is actually the 11th year in a row that I have produced one of these top 10 niches lists. And if you want to go back and see all of them, 110 now, with every single niche, what makes it good and why, I'm going to post a link in the description that'll take you to a blog post that details everything totally for free. Again, at this point, 110 niches. Now, I also want to say, I know over the years, a lot of people have done very well with these niches. So if you've been following along and looking for a niche for your next store, you're in luck. Or if this is your first time here at Dropship Lifestyle and you're trying to find something that has the chance to actually work in 2025, you are in the right place. And again, every niche I'm about to take you through is something I would personally build a store in myself. With that being said, let's talk about what we are focusing on in 2025. And that is made in the USA niches. So why are we focusing on made in the USA niches? Well, if you had a chance to watch my video from last week where I covered how Donald Trump's second term will affect e-commerce, then you're already aware. If you haven't and you want more information on that, I'll link to it below. But a quick 60-second summary of it is that Donald Trump is proposing a 60% tariff on products that have a country of origin of China. So even if you already are running a dropshipping store or e-commerce in general, and you're selling products in the USA where the country of origin is China, there will now be up to a 60% tariff on them, which would then mean that you would have to pay that if you're directly importing, or your supplier will have to pay that if they're importing from China. And of course, that fee will get passed along to you in the sense that your wholesale price will go up, meaning you'll have to increase the price you sell to customers for, meaning most likely, at least for a while, you will see lower sales if all of your products in your niche are originated in China. Now, I shared a screenshot, if you're watching the video of this, of a post that actually just came out today in Reuters, and they interviewed some top economists who think that the 60% tariff won't be a day one thing, but they actually think it'll be closer to 40% and then possibly go up to 60 over time. Now, of course, that's a 20% difference, but a 40% tariff is still big dollars, and it still can affect the sales of the products that are already on your store or that you're thinking of adding to a new store if you sell products that originate in China. So I think it should be obvious by now, but if it's not, the reason we are focusing on made in the USA products is because they do not have tariffs, meaning the prices are not going to increase, meaning your customers are not going to get sticker shock when they're looking at something that they saw a week ago and then see it for 40% more. Prices can stay consistent, meaning sales can stay consistent, meaning we can continue to profit. Now, again, if this worries you at all, I really would recommend you go back and watch the last episode I did, linked below, to provide more context. But in short, we're not stopping selling products that do originate in China. We're still going to list them. We're still going to sell them. But we are trying to add more and more brands to our stores where the products are made in the USA. So what I did in preparation for this, again, 11th edition of the top 10 products for the year was go out there, do my own research. And specifically for this year, I looked for products that have a higher than normal amount of brands that manufacture the products in the USA. What that means is if you choose any of these, you'll be able to find suppliers that have products that originate around the world, but all of these top 10 niches have a large concentration of brands that manufacture them in the USA. Again, that means no tariffs. That means no sticker shock to consumers in a few months from now. That means more profit for you and a healthier store. So without further ado, let's get into this year's top 10 list, starting with number 1, musical instruments. So this can be things like grand pianos. This can be things like drum sets, violins, brass instruments. It doesn't really matter. All of these niches that I researched individually have a higher amount than average suppliers that make them in the USA. Now, one thing I want to point out, because you're going to notice this in this niche and really quite a few as we go through these top 10, is that, as you might know, we build niche-specific stores. So if possible, I would want to niche down enough where maybe I only built a grand piano store, assuming that can meet all the criteria that we look for. But I wanted to put it a little bit broader here, just so there's more meat on the bone for you and for all the viewers. So maybe somebody that's watching this picks grand pianos, maybe somebody that's watching this picks drum sets, maybe somebody picks violins, maybe somebody picks brass instruments, etc., etc., etc. And by the way, if you do want more information on why we niche down and why that's so important, type a comment below this episode and just write niche down. Do that now. And if I see enough demand and enough of those comments, next week I'll do an episode all about niching down, why it's important, and how to do it. So comment niche down below. Okay, with that being said, let's get into the second niche for this year, and this is sculptures. These can be indoor, these can be outdoor, it doesn't matter. I researched both work. But these are items where there are a ton of artists and small shops in the USA that manufacture these products. Again, made in the USA means no tariff. So there are tons of these. I found dozens and dozens of them where the price point is exactly where we want it to be. So I think sculptures is a great niche for 2025 and beyond. Because going back even to 2015, when I made our first list of niches, I should mention this here, I don't give you these because I think they're going to be good for 1 year. I think they are timely and relevant, but I also think they're evergreen. So just because this is a top 10 niche for 2025 doesn't mean in 2026 it's not going to work. This is a niche that should work great in 2025, in 2035, in 2055, and as long as you want to own your store, pass it down to a family member, or even possibly sell it. Okay, with that being said, let's get into the next niche on this year's list, which is industrial machinery. And this is another one that is quite broad, so I would encourage you to niche down. But two examples I gave you here are laser cutters and embroidery machines. Tons of brands manufacture these in the USA, no tariffs, more profits for you, no sticker shock to consumers when tariffs come into play. Next niche on the list is motorcycle parts and accessories. Tons of this customization space, right? Whether it's automotive or motorcycles, these products are made in, again, small shops in the USA with brands you can sell for. So this can be things like upgraded or replacement shocks. This can be things like upgraded or replacement fenders. With something like this, I will say, if you're gonna get into a niche like this, I would recommend you have some experience in that niche. Typically what we do is sell in niches where we really aren't connected to them at all. But this is one I kind of hesitated to put it on the list because customers probably will have some more technical questions. So if you do choose this one, I would recommend having at least some knowledge of motorcycles, how they work, what the parts are, what people would need for different types of bikes. Okay, getting into the next niche on this list. This one is living room furniture. Again, quite broad, but a niche where if you were to, for example, go to the High Point furniture market in High Point, North Carolina, you're going to find hundreds of made in the USA suppliers. And speaking of niching down here, you'll see when I say living room furniture, that can include things like sofas and chairs and end tables and rugs and coffee tables. The reason I didn't break this down into those individual niches, one is because you can do that yourself if you want to. Again, comment niche down below if you want more info on that. But also because a lot of these suppliers will sell items that complement each other. So maybe you're selling this living room sofa and that supplier also has a chair that people might want to add to the set, or a rug that they might want to add on as they're checking out on your store. That's why I combined these all into one niche, again, being living room furniture. Also, before we get into the next niche on this year's list, I do want to mention that these are in no particular order. I'm not ranking them like this is number 1, this is the best, and this is number 10, this is the worst. No, again, these are all good, and these are all niches that I would personally build stores in myself. Okay, with that being said, let's move on to the next niche for 2025, and this is cookware sets. Something else where I found tons of made in the USA suppliers, whether it be cast iron, whether it be stainless steel. There are many brands that make these in the US, and when you sell them as sets, the price point is exactly where we want it to be. It appeals to the upper middle class. It is something that doesn't require a lot of pre-sale and post-sale support, and it is definitely something I would do myself in 2025. Now moving on to the next niche for this year, we have watercrafts. Now, I'm not talking about boats and I'm not talking about jet skis, but I'm talking about things like fishing kayaks and stand-up paddle boards. Again, plenty of brands made in the USA that you can either add to an existing store you already have, or start your Watercraft store today. After you watch this video, go create a Shopify account, get to work, and you could just search for Made in the USA, Watercraft brands. You will find a ton of them that you can reach out to become an authorized retailer of, that you can sell, again, throughout 2025 and beyond. Okay, going into the next niche for this year's list, we have horse saddles. Again, this type of craftsmanship, this type of artistry, I gave you the sculptures example before, but this holds true with horse saddles as well. There are a ton of great artists and craftsmen in the US that manufacture these things here, that sell for very high price points, that sell to people that are obsessed with these things, that can make us a lot of money. That is why horse saddles definitely is on this year's list of the top 10 high-ticket dropshipping niches for 2025. Okay, moving on to the next one. This is a new one to me, but tactical and outdoor gear. These are things that are sometimes purchased by security, sometimes even purchased by police, sometimes purchased by people that have an interesting hobby, but the price point is great and these products sell well. And again, most of these products are proudly made in the USA. So I know we went fast this year, guys. That was 9 already. Let's go ahead and get into number 10 for this year, which is barbecue grills. Again, doing my research, doing my due diligence, I found over a dozen made in the USA brands that produce barbecue grills, that the prices are not gonna change in a few months to customers, that are gonna have you healthy margins, of course, that are gonna ship fast to your customers. Something else I would definitely do myself. Now, guys, if you got value from this year's top 10, do me a favor, let me know below this video by commenting value. If you have any questions, let me know as well by posting a comment below. And if you want even more niches, I've actually researched over 500 of them that are perfect for 2025. And if you want this list, all you need to do is go to dropshipwebinar.com, dropship webinar.com. I'll link it up in the description as well. When you go there, you can register for a free in-depth training with me. And as a bonus for showing up and hanging out, I'm gonna give you a copy of this free ebook. Again, that includes 500 high-ticket dropshipping niche ideas for 2025. So click that button below, get registered. I truly look forward to seeing you on that training. And again, if you want another video next week about niching down and why that's so important, comment niche down below.